All right, for number 31, we're given this function, g of x equals the square root of x plus 3 divided by 4. And the first thing we're asked to do with this is to identify the parent function. So this is a square root function, so our parent function is going to be the function f of x equals the square root of x. That's our parent function, the square root function. And then we're asked to describe what we have to do to f of x to get g of x. So what's the difference between f of x and g of x? What kind of transformations are going on between the graph of f of x and the graph of g of x? So let's start by graphing f of x. This is going to start at the origin, because if we plugged in 0 for x, we get 0. If we plugged in 1 for x, we're going to get 1. And if we plugged in 4 for x, we're going to get 2. And this graph is just going to continue going off like this. All right, so now what's the graph of g of x going to look like? What are we doing to this parent function to get g of x? So notice first of all that we're adding 3 underneath the radical. And so remember when we add inside the parentheses or under the radical, that shifts it to the left. It goes the opposite direction of what we would expect. And since we're adding, that's actually going to bring this whole thing over to the left 3. So we're gonna start here instead of starting at the origin. And then what does this dividing by 4 do? Well, notice that this is the same as 1/4 times the square root of x plus 3. So what we're doing is we're multiplying outside the radical by a number less than 1. So that's going to be a vertical compression. We're going to smash this down vertically by a factor of 4. So instead of going through the point 1, 1, or instead of going through this point at 1, we're going to go through, after 1, we're just going to be going up a quarter. That's even a little high. Just a quarter there. And in fact, after 4, we'll be a quarter of that too. So after 4, we'll be at like 1/2. So this is going to be the graph like this. It's going to be a graph that's been shifted over 3 to the left 3, and it's going to be squashed down by a factor of 4. And I think that's all we're asked to do on this one. So so write out that this has been shifted to the left 3, and there's a vertical compression by 1/4, or by a factor of 1/4. All right.